Contributions that build the organization, yourselves' contribution to society out there through the free flow of information. Enhancing the rights of everyone at conference, protecting and enhancing the image and values of the ANC. This is more applicable to delegates, so that you don't go out and say the ANC also placed this on us as the media. Well, we're also saying our delegates must sing songs that reflect our rich history and avoid those that divide us. That they must respect the chairpersons of plenary sessions and commissions, avoid disruption. So through yourselves, surely our delegates are watching wherever they are, so they will come here knowing exactly what's expected of them. Discourage and report any boycotted behavior. This includes racism, ethnic chauvinism, sexism, homophobia, xenophobia, and etc. The possession of waypoints by and delegate at conference, including the media. No one except those authorities well on point. If you tried something with a small knife, you might not be able to make it here. Because we have to protect yourselves, members of the media. We have to protect our delegates. We have to make sure that this place is safe for everyone. Behavior that violates the provisions of the Constitution of the ANC, form of violence, threats of violence, intimidation or bullying, act of sexual harassment, acts of criminality, acts of vote buying, or any attempts to influence the deliberations of conference through unethical means. Behavior that threatens to divide the ANC. So we are not going to tolerate any of these that fall under the dons. Should we be made aware through the conference steering committee not allowed inside conference, will be able to act decisively. And if such actions constitute acts of criminality, the South African Police Services within reach here will also have to make sure that we activate such. Delegates must be free in this conference. They must be free to express themselves and to do any other thing that they need to do for as long as such is. When we met previously, we indicated that part of what we will do is that we will have, as today, we'll have a media open day. We have canvassed this concept with the National Conference Preparatory Committee. It has been fully accepted. The beverages that are allowed to be consumed inside the venue or around the non-alcoholic beverages. So anyone who is within this precinct must not conduct or carry themselves in a manner or way that creates doubt or suspicion, either about their movements or other things. So it's going to be very important. If you start elsewhere, just make sure you walk straight. Please. Because we can't impose rules, set rules. So we have to make sure that what applies that side also applies this side. So that is as far as the program is concerned. Now let's just deal with what is happening on day one. So just as an aside, so this file is part of the, with a pen, this one. So when we came to meet with yourselves and said some marketing stuff, this is what we meant. I see some of you have already opened it, pens are ready to write. You could have done it with us, you see. This is what we're talking about. So it had nothing to do with enriching the ANC, no. We just wanted you to be able to have stuff to work from. Now it's fine, the ANC managed to go out of its way and got this. So you can make your notes on the books, formally and officially yours. They belong to you guys now. Because maybe you thought the ANC wanted to do something else. We just wanted to do these books. we also wanted to do these files so that we can write this directory for yourselves. So we're coming to yourselves to do things that are going to be used by you, not by us. But because it was creating an issue with SANEF, with yourselves, with everyone, we said, no, maybe we must go do these things. Come and show you what they are, practically. The file is this one. The directory is this. So inside this, there's a program. So we were supposed to start at 8:30. We had some delays at registration, which are being resolved. Delegates are beginning to arrive. We must wish them well. Of course, it's going to be always approach their conferences with a great sense of camaraderie, and we hope the same will prevail this conference. We'll indicate to yourselves when we open session 1, the media relations team that is there on your file. So you have to keep these files because this file has got almost everything you need to know throughout the conference. So we'll have interdenominational prayers, which will again be an open session. So you'll notice between session 1 and session 2, on top of that will be that open day that we will do for yourselves. But we want that open day to run up until we close the open session. It means after the president has delivered the political address of the media to be here in the media village. You have got ablution facilities here in the media village. If we find a member of the media outside the media village when it is not an open session, we have already discussed this, and I'm sure you all know it's very possible. So let's avoid that possibility. Just make sure you keep and lead you to the plenary hall. We have already indicated to the security personnel that after this briefing, we will be taking you to the plenary hall so that you can be able to have a feel of how conference is going to really look like. You have been here before. So we're going to do that. Where there are cadres that you may want to interact with, make such requests through ourselves. Authority is limited to structures of the ANC and delegates in conference. If you want to talk to nominees in this conference, you are welcome to do so, but you can do so through the Electoral Committee of the ANC. But if you want to talk to members of the National Executive Committee, members of provincial executive committees, delegates to this conference, it's not the responsibility of DIP. Please. Let me repeat. If you are making requests to DIP on who you want to speak to, these comrades must fall under the following categories. There must either be members of provincial executive, members of the National Executive Committee of the ANC, national officials of the ANC, members of provincial executive committees of the ANC, members of regional executive committees of the ANC, preferably regional chairs and regional secretaries. Delegates, branch delegates in this conference. Any other person who falls outside that category is not the responsibility of DIP. Please do it outside us. This media village has been put up and set up to fulfill the work of conference. And the work of conference is stipulated here in this program. So every other thing that we are going to be doing here is going to be guided by this program. When you want to talk to individual leaders of the African, so when you make requests, when you make a request, it could either be approved or be declined or be put in suspense. So if you ask us to speak to someone who is not in a conference, if we don't come to you at that point, it could be that whomever you are wanting to interview is not within the conference precinct. So let's work together on those things. So we're done with the program. The second update that we must give you is around our special NEC. We had a special National Executive Committee of the ANC yesterday. There are issues we specifically dealt with. One of them is an issue of public interest around the NEC in its deliberation and out of its own collective wisdom concluded that following the party line is important for the unity of the organization. And that any member who goes against party line not only erodes the discipline of the organization, but undermines what we are supposed to fulfill, which is to unite our members. Is forged through debates. That there's never been a time when the ANC National Executive Committee, through its spokesperson or through its Secretary General's office, had to go out and explain to the media who said what in the meeting. That every time what we went to deposit outside has always been decisions of the ANC, which should be a reflection of the minimum consensus forged in those meetings. In arriving at this conclusion, the NEC was also reminded by the courageous act taken by Krizani, who did not agree with the dissolution of the armed struggle, and yet was the first one to come out and pronounce his affirmation of the ANC doing away with the armed struggle. This was a courageous act, and we felt that it is this act of courage, as it relates to those of our cadres who did not follow the party line. The NEC concluded that we should not use debates, we should not use discipline again to stifle debates in the African National Congress. A view that our national chairperson had already placed out in the public, having regard is expected to undertake the National Democratic Revolution. That we empower the incoming National Executive Committee, which will be elected here in this national conference, to pay attention on what would have happened on the Section 89 report and deal with any other matter that might be similar to that which will have taken place in the past, so that actions taken by all members of the ANC must feel that they belong to one organization, they are treated the same and fairly. As a consequence of this, there is no member of the National Executive Committee, as it is now, who will be appearing before the National Disciplinary Committee. These matters will be processed by the incoming National Executive Committee, and the incoming National Executive Committee will determine the course of action, having looked at all. We have seen already yesterday members of the media carrying letters purported to be from the NDC. It is very important that members of the media, when the NEC of the ANC is in session, they allow it to conclude, come out and brief it on what its decisions are. As we hand over this National Executive Committee to the incoming EC, the ANC is not coming here to bury itself. The incoming NEC will have the responsibility to take forward some of these issues. And if they arrive at a determination that this case and others of a similar nature in the past require the attention of the NDC or any other disciplinary structure of the ANC, they will take that decision. There will be an NEC. We will say to them in our handover report, not towing a party line, if it is not properly addressed, has got the potential to erode the authority of the party, even at a local government level. We do not want our councillors behaving erroneously and arguing that they saw this being done by us in upper structures. We do not want our MPLs behaving in the same way. The will of the ANC must be common and consistent. What we do in municipalities when cadres do not toe the line must be what is done everywhere else where comrades don't toe the line. We need to remind our members and structures that towing the party line once more is important to the overall unity of the organization. This is one principle that the ANC cannot renege or compromise on. The Conference Preparatory Committee will meet just after the delivery of the political report to finalize and communicate key resolutions coming out of the NEC, especially as it relates to the review or amendments of some of the rules on the electoral committee, on the electoral guidelines. Specifically, found guilty with or without the option of a fine. So we have got to attend to what our resolution is, convey that, and communicate one consistent message, so that those of our cadres that might be affected by what would be the final decision or may not be affected, such is fully communicated. We have got a responsibility to make sure that there is nothing that we are going to do everything else in our power to make sure that this conference conclude its business. We are expected to nominate national officials today. We expect our delegates to vote for national officials tomorrow morning. And this collectively, this leadership agreed that it will do everything else to make sure that all these processes run smoothly. Everything is going as planned. Our lower structures can learn a lot from how we are conducting this national conference. We want all our gatherings to be undertaken in this fashion. Meetings of the ANC must never collapse because of credentials. We have to debate robustly. Members of the ANC are dynamic themselves and ultimately find each other. It doesn't mean that if you go to a meeting, you are a lesser cadre. No, you are still an activist. So those delegates that are coming to conference must come with that kind of an understanding. Working with yourselves in the media and your constructive reports during the policy conference, we are looking forward to the same. Your reports don't have to be favorable to the ANC. We subscribe to an independent media ourselves. Understanding on what we had communicated out in the public, and others seeking to suggest that we may want the media to pay to cover an ANC conference, it worried us a lot. We'll never do that. This is your space. Whoever you want to talk to, as we have said, you will make such requests and will make those cadres available. The other point, must also welcome the decisions of the courts committee to release raw data. Well, they would have exercised their rights when they were doing that. We can't take away the rights of our members to approach courts. It is their democratic right. But we want to believe that as democratic, as disciplined members of the ANC, they will also act to accept the decisions of the courts. They know a list of those that have qualified. And we are expecting, especially of additionals, we are expecting that our branches will have a fair opportunity to choose from those. If some of those comrades who went to court believe that they have got cadres rallying behind them, here is the right space, not even the court. They can be nominated from the floor. So let's do a litmus test. Let's check. I guarantee you all have got the names of the ones who went to court. Like how they will fare. They are here. If they are not delegates, they can even write letters and contest with letters. But let's check. So we are inviting them that, comrades, you still have got an opportunity. Losing court was not the final arbiter. You can come and try here at conference, and we see how it goes. So we're not we won't stop anyone from standing if they qualify and they, others really related to us adopting and affirming this program, which we have done. So, okay, I'm also reminded by the media relations team to also indicate that drones are not allowed. Drones, not even SANEF can tell us to fly drones here. No, drones are not allowed, please. Drones, please. Please. I agree you are members of the South African National Editors Forum. When we were telling you stuff that certain things we are unable to reach, you will quickly go to SANEF. Even when we clarified ourselves, SANEF would still insist that no, the ANC said they are going to give everyone space for free. How can we give 100 journalists space for free who want booth? Can the ANC afford that? Really? Is it possible? Imagine if we've got 100 newspapers coming to Editors Forum. And we must commend them for coming and representing you. Every time there was an issue, they called us. And every time we had our own meetings, we managed to find each other. Here we are. So the ANC is not opposed to formations such as SANEF. No. If they call and raise concerns as it relates to the rights of the media and how the media feels it is being treated, we'll have to give an ear to such. We've had 2 meetings with SANEF. There is progress that we are making with these formations. In the same way that when yourselves have got issues and raise them with us, we are able to arrive at some form of consensus as well. We work like that. So if there are people, I'm sure they know them. We don't know which media house. Do we know which media house is responsible for this Aviation Act? It's only one. So we don't want to mention them here. It's only for the police, and it's all for the sake of safety, the safety of everyone. You know, drones are being used for different things in other parts of the world. So let's just make sure that the safety of people who are here is not, people don't get suspicious. So we are here, we'll be able to clarify any question that you may have. So we felt we must just give you that brief that will be going to the plenary hall. This was just an update, really, I'm sure, unless there's a specific burning question that you may want to ask. Oh, I don't see you in our press conferences. You know, I even ask, I only see you during these meetings. Cape Town. Oh, man, I was asking about you.
Did you miss me?
Too much.
They announced that they got a null the certificate to privately prosecute President Ramaphosa. According to that statement, once he has been charged, there's no difference between that being charged by the MPA and being charged in a private prosecution. So do you agree with that interpretation, and would that then mean that the president would have to step aside? Thank you.
Okay. You see, this morning's briefing, this morning we're briefing you about the program. We don't want to derail conference by dealing with matters that are not related to this. So can we just try and deal with questions that have got to do with the program? Those specific questions, not that they can't be answered, the presidency has already answered. Where we are standing, the president of the ANC remains the president of the ANC and is going to be delivering the political report. Please. We have to communicate a positive message out to the public. If the democratic will of members will prevail inside the conference. So let's deal with the program. We've got the program. We will go to the media lounge. From the media lounge, Amos, we will then confirm the plenary. Then we'll go to plenary, and then we'll come back here. Okay.
Mbali Tatani from Newsroom Africa. Pule, how far are you as the ANC when it comes to registering your delegates? We understand that have not even paid up their membership fees. You know, how soon can we start seeing conference get underway? And are you yet done with the registration of all of your delegates? And what seems to be the holdup? Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, I'm advised that let's just take the questions. If there are any other questions, especially conference-related questions, like just follow Mbali's example. Okay?
I understood you to be saying that there's no one who's going to be charged, particularly those party members who defied the party line. And you did emphasize that their actions nonetheless are setting a precedent, and they have the ability to erode the authority of the party. Do I understand you to be saying, therefore, when you say that the incoming NEC will therefore have to be seized with those issues, are you therefore saying that you after this conference, or you are leaving every decision up to them?
Okay. No, that's okay.
Pune, thank you. Erin Bates from Newsroom Africa, Channel 405, for those of you who haven't started watching us yet. Just to check, the closed plenary at 2 o'clock, it addresses rules. Can you confirm if the step-aside rule will be one of the rules under discussion?
I'm Johannes Dietrich, German newspapers. I just want to know whether the registration problems, are they just formal problems because it took too long, or is it kind of arguments about the credentials? Arguments about the credentials, so who is actually really a delegate?
I don't understand. Did you get the question?
You didn't get the question?
Yes.
The question is it just a formal process or not?
Oh, okay. No, thanks. There are 3 questions. No, we are deferring this to the incoming National Executive Committee with a report, of course, because the handover report does those kind of traces that I spoke about, where there would have been cadres who might have done similar acts in the past. And then you also take this one and allow authority. You can't take a report to comrades with recommendations. You are stifling them. So you might as well just take that decision yourself. But we said we'll not have the time to do the investigation. We'll not have the time because comrades have got strong arguments on how they would have done what they did. We won't have the time. Comrade Muluku, we are now sitting, we are going into conference. Even those that would have acted in the same way in the past would have strong reasons. But allow these things to be, we are not abdicating our duty or responsibility as this National Executive Committee. It's just that with limitations of time, it will come across as if we are in a rush to act. I mean, the ANC that started in 1912, one act in parliament forces it that if it doesn't make a decision, it's going to rain. We can't do that. We have to make sure that in arriving at our final conclusions, we have actually paid attention on all of the issues. Of course, because some councillors decided that they will vote in a certain way in a specific municipality, forcing by-elections unnecessarily sometimes. So we have to make sure that we look at these things overall and then say, this is what we want to see happening. The renewal of the African National Congress, which is a path that we must take coming out of the 55th National Conference, requires a lot more. That how we act goes beyond our own wishes as individual cadres. It affirms that which the organization wants to see happening which is the good and in the interest of our own members. Mbali, you raised an issue about membership not being paid up and delays. Mbali, if your membership is not paid up and you are not a member in good standing, in DIP, who are known volunteers of the African National Congress, only known by ourselves, when they went to register, I made a special proviso that their membership must be checked. And where we found that you are on probation, we don't accredit you. Some of this, I had to remove about 8 or so of DIP volunteers because their membership was not up to date. The same applies. The ANC that we are using only allows this text to be printed. Where's my tag? Because I'm a voting delegate. So the new membership system of the ANC that we have adopted can only print your tag as a voting delegate if your membership is in good standing. So for instance, Pule Mabe is a member in good standing of what, 96. So before you become a member of the NEC, you must belong to a branch. So I belong to a branch. I belong to a region. And I belong to a province. That's why our tags have got those details. They've got the names of. So if your membership is not in good standing, we're not going to be able to locate you in that category of being a voting delegate. And remember, if you come from a branch and are a voting delegate, you cannot vote for a leadership of an organization where you are not a member in good standing. It's not possible. I mean, a reporter of ENCA can't report for Newsroom Africa. So if there is an issue there, Mbali, what I suspect the team might do, where such affects branch members, they may be placed in a category of non-voting. Of course, they will clarify that the organizing team, the SGO, led by Comrade Paul Mashatile, when they talk to yourselves later on, they will be able to clarify some of those issues. Mbali, this morning, we had already reported he was doing monitoring of the registration points. What Comrade Ngenge told me is that the report we had was that at that point, and this was earlier on, we had just over 3,800 delegates registered. So if that is the number, it means we would have been short of just under 600 delegates to go. And machines are busy rolling. So it means there are many others who are busy being registered as we are engaging in this way. No, we don't have enough time. This is conference. Remember, we're in the national conference. So can I please request that, okay, is it a burning question? Or you asked, step aside. Sorry, man, I thought it's obvious that we normally don't tell you what is discussed in commissions because they are discussed in closed sessions of conference. But let me just, no, I'm saying issues, what we will want to convey to the public will be decisions, not discussions. Imagine this, just yesterday, let's use yesterday as an example. You are given a letter of NDC. The NEC of the ANC rises with something else, and you have already distributed the letter. You understand? So it's not safe in our space to discuss issues when they are still under, or to publish. The fourth national conference as the body. So this conference can make any decision. Any issue you may want to know, let us subject it to this conference. So the collective wisdom of this conference will guide us on what we need to communicate post-conference. Is that clear? Okay. So I hate cutting members of the media because I want time. Your camera people want to do what I've come to understand to be called cutaways. You see, before I became a spokesperson, I didn't know cutaways. And every time they said so during press briefings, I always asked, what are these cutaways? So when we're asking questions, we must remember, ENCA, you need cutaways. So we must go out so that you can get cutaways. Okay, we are going to start with plenary because of time constraints. Oh, okay, Mloko, can you?
Opinion on the expulsion of Carl Niehaus. Number 2, what constitutes an expellable offense? And number 3 is the actions of President Zuma in asking for a private prosecution of President Cyril Ramaphosa an expellable offense, in your opinion, and that of the party.
Okay. No, that's okay. I'm sure you know. Do you have a file with you? Do you have the file? Where is it? Just wave it. I want to see it. I want to make sure you've got the right file. Yes, Muloko. No, we're going to run out of time. This is a national conference. It's not a normal press conference at Lituli House. We're going to run, there are hands behind you. Yeah, we can do one-on-one. We're going to run out of time. Can we go inside plenary? Sharp.